your self-defense Joe staff or hiking stick, walking stick. This is self-defense training with a walking stick. This walking stick is 40 or 54 inches. That's about the size of a regular trekking pole or hiking pole. Some walking sticks are a little bit shorter, they can be longer. You can make your own out of a dowel rod. This one is a very strong hardwood. If you do make your own, make it out of a hardwood. I want to show you how you can very easily defend yourself with your walking stick. So this is self-defense training with your walking stick. I always like to warm up when I train. Now this is for training. You don't warm up when someone's coming at you trying to hurt you. You just immediately hit them before they hit you for self-defense. But I'm going to have you do this warm up since we are talking about training with your self-defense walking stick. In this case, it's also a Joe staff, known as a Joe staff. Hey, Studer, good to see you. Class just started, yes, good to see you. Builders here, nice to see you. So we're just getting started. This is a simple turn. This is going to build some power in your grip, power in the forearm. This is going to get the blood flowing, get the synovial fluid into the joints so you can stay safe from injury during this training. You're going to do about 30 seconds one hand, 30 seconds on the other hand. Hey, Doug, it's good to see you. Doug said he used his shillelagh on the heavy bag last night. It's a good way to train, striking the bag. Training is always important. Once you do the other hand for 30 seconds, I like to go pinky to pinky, palms up, side to side. Just practice. Hey, Charlie's here, Pennsylvania. Charlie's been following the videos for quite some time. I appreciate that. The comments pop off really fast, so you guys could also put those in the comment section. That really helps. You can go back later and read them. So you're just going side to side, and you don't do much spinning. So in the Joe staff, the bow staff, the long martial arts staff, we do a lot of spinning. We do a lot of fancy moves, a lot of things that you don't do with the walking stick for self-defense, but you'll see spinning. And the reason that we do a lot of spinning is to build some power in the grip. It's to develop timing and distance, spatial awareness. So when you whack yourself because your arm is in the wrong spot, you learn where you are in space and time or where your staff is. But when it comes to this style self-defense stick, we do spin in a self-defense move. So one of the things that you're going to learn how to do is this figure 8 spin. And when you do it with your hiking stick or your walking stick, you're going to do it with the short side coming out of the thumb and the long side coming out of the pinky, just as if you were holding it, if you were walking with it, hiking. In this position, someone comes up, you can put your hand up, come back up, they keep coming. You can immediately turn, almost like a punch, and then turn your thumb down, and that's going to throw this long side, this hard piece of wood, this one's hickory, this big hickory pole up along the side of his head for self-defense. Or maybe he's reaching out to punch or choke or stab or slash, and you're going to smash the hand out of the way. Now you can also bring it back and hit him on the other side of his body for self-defense. So you practice this, since this is self-defense training with your walking stick, you're going to practice this figure 8 motion, and all you're doing, if you take your thumb and you carve a sideways figure 8 or the infinity sign, pushing down, again, that's going to pull this long side up against your opponent, the bad guy, for self-defense. So you're just going to practice this, put one foot in front of the other. This is your right hand, put your right foot forward. When you do this, put it into the other hand, you simply place one palm over the other stick, side of the stick over the other palm, take it off, switch your feet, left foot forward, left hand, and practice that same spinning motion. And this allows you to practice this explosive back up, you're too close, and then strike and strike coming back. You can practice also, one of the things I like to do when you're outside, I attach a string with a tennis ball. I put a hole in the tennis ball, and then I put a rope through it, make a knot on one side, so that the rope is hanging from a tree branch, and then just practice striking and practice your accuracy. Then when it starts to swing a little bit, then you're practicing your timing and your distance and your accuracy all at once. And so you can practice the spin actually hitting something for self-defense. So that's the first thing that we're gonna do, the first warm-up. Stuart asked, how much harder does the Jo hit than the Hanbo? The strikes are similar, but a little bit different because of the length of the Jo, it hits a lot harder. So it has a lot more material than the Hanbo does. The Hanbo is 36 inches, so about this long. This Jo obviously is a lot longer. There are a lot of the similar types of strikes that you can do with the Hanbo, but you're gonna be able to hit a lot harder with this. Zero Gluten says he has a hickory hiking staff, enjoys a lot of videos. Yeah, I put a link in the description to some of the Brazos hiking sticks. I think those are for like a really inexpensive hardwood. They come, the shipping's really fast, but there's a link in the description if you want to get something like that, a nice hiking pole. And the great thing about it is it's a good gray man, gray woman option. You can take it wherever you go, and it just looks like you're using a walking stick. Yeah, Doug's talking about practice. He practiced with his practice on the bags with strikes, and it's just an amazing upper body workout. All right, so we have this first strike. The second thing I want to show you from this position, these are all basic strikes. When you do training with your self-defense training with your walking stick, hiking stick, I want you to keep it super simple, and I want you to always practice with the right hand and the same techniques, the same amount of time with your left hand. So in your right hand, left foot forward, your hand is up, you give your verbal command. This hand is between you and the threat. That's in case he closes that distance, you can stop him, put your hand on your helmet, or your helmet on your head, put your hand on your head. I call that putting your helmet on. You can use this elbow to interrupt his line of sight. Also, if he's throwing a punch, you'll intercept there. If he's throwing a haymaker or a hook punch, he'll hit your arm, you'll absorb most of it, you won't get hurt. Then you're gonna immediately thrust with that back hand like a punch right into his face. From here, turning and striking and hitting with the short side that's coming out of your thumb. So this first technique, just think about pointing your thumb at the threat, sticking your thumb in his eye for self-defense. From here, your hand is up, you gave the verbal command, back up, I'll defend myself, he keeps coming. You're just gonna stop him with that first thrust. Now from here, you can also turn and hit him with the long side or the heavier side of that pole. And this is back to Stuart's question about, does it hit harder? Hey Michael, to see, does it hit harder than the Hanbo, which is the shorter stick? And because you have all this extra material and this extra weight, yes, you're going to strike with a lot more force and power because you have so much more wood here. So from, excuse me, I have a little tickle, a lot of pollen in the air lately. So your hands up, give the verbal command. This is your first motion. The second thing I want you to practice is lifting just your hand. Think about answering your phone, put your hand to your ear. That's gonna take that long side and run it up the middle of his body, maybe striking in between the legs, up under the chin. Maybe he's got that punch coming in, or again, he's trying to choke or thrust his knife, slash, and you're gonna smash that hand coming up here. You can then turn your hand down and smack him on the top of the head for self-defense. So you can lift and then bring it back down and hit him very quickly by simply turning your hand down and allowing the weight of your walking stick to smash him on the side of his face. So first motion, thrust, second motion, bring it up, answer your phone. From this position, I also want you to think about throwing your front hand in here so that you can catch your own staff or your own walking stick, and then with two hands, you can now thrust, putting your whole body behind it, stepping in with that front foot, trying to go over the camera so don't smash it, but coming in, and then you have this reach advantage. I don't have my blade on me now. Open some boxes in the kitchen. I use this thing every single day. You know, I think it's good to always have a knife, but I just took it out inside the house. But my blade is it's a 6-7 inch blade. So the knife itself is maybe 9-10 inches like that. You have machetes like this. So you still have a reach advantage. So you're gonna be able to hit him before he can hit you. So you answer your phone, interrupting, he's coming in, smashing his chin, hitting him between the legs, maybe hitting that arm, and then this thrusting motion. From here, I want you to practice pulling and allowing your front hand to loosen its grip so that it can slide through your hand, kind of like a pull cue, sliding through and then bringing forward down from the sky, this backhand. Think about striking a knife hand, call that shudo, the knife hand strike, smashing his chin, smashing his head into his neck for self-defense. But instead, you got a big long chunk of hickory there, or oak, or whatever your staff, your hiking staff is made out of, hiking pole, and coming through, following through by turning your shoulders and your hips. So in this position, you can practice combination strikes, lift, thrust, pull, turning, this smashing motion coming through. And as you go forward, you're pushing the staff or pushing your walking stick with your back hand. So it's sliding. And as it's sliding, it's accelerating and increasing the force of that strike, so that as you come through, you can adequately defend yourself against that guy who's trying to take away your freedom, your life, your dignity. Turning through from here, sliding the front hand forward, and stepping in as you bring this back punch again across the side of his face, just turning in a vertical strike. So this striking combination, I want you to practice on both sides. When you throw it in the left hand, answer your phone, catch at the front, thrust, pull, strike, punch, bringing that backhand forward. Studer asked if there's a technical term for the slide as you're pushing and sliding, and I'll say there probably is, but and I probably learned it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'll look for it. I'll see if it's in some of my notes. So lifting, I used to take a class, a Joe training class, Aikido. I'll see if they had a term for it. But you can make up your own. If you've known me long enough now, Studer, to know that you can make up whatever word you want for it. As long as you do it right? As long as it works. Smash him in the chin, thrust through his throat for self-defense. Slide, break his temple or into the neck, and then bringing that across, smashing the jaw, coming across here. You can also step in and using both hands in this hard bar of hickory, smashing his teeth down his throat, now boxing his ears or taking his knees out. You're just fighting with your self-defense walking stick for self-defense. For self-defense, all right. So we'll switch back to the other one. I just want to go over this combination very briefly, one last time. Lifting, thrust, pull, slide, so think diagonal strike, horizontal strike, and then coming through with two hands like you're doing a split grip push-up, right through his face, boxing the ears, boxing the knees. And if you then practice it from side to side, you'll make yourself, with those combination strikes, you get better at those strikes, but you'll also get a good workout too. Yeah, William says he's got a rubber boot on the end of his. Having rubber tip or a brass tip, brass is a really good option if you can find it. You can see mine is getting chewed up there a little bit because I do walk with it from time to time. But if you put a rubber grommet on the end, brass is better. You know, they make those old style for a gentleman's cane. Put the brass tip on it. It's usually a little nail or a screw that goes in there. And then you'll save the wood on the end of your stick. And that's gonna add weight. And as you can imagine, that brass is gonna hit a whole bunch harder than just this hard wood, than this hickory will. All right, from this position, coming up this way, I wanna think about the thrust and then answer the phone. So if we were to start here, turn it over and bring it into the back hand, then I can do the punch and the chop and then the push this way. I want you to just imagine, like once you get some of these techniques down and you practice some techniques, then make up your own combinations. And that's where this hand transfer is going to come in, so that you can have it in the front hand, which is your right hand because your right foot's forward. And then when you switch your feet, because you can slide, it'll now be in your left hand, and then your left foot will be forward. And you can thrust here, switch back, and thrust here. So learning this switch gives you a lot of opportunities to strike with one hand or the other hand. Almighty's here. Good to see you. Craig's here. Thrusting forward, Craig says. But the idea is your hands don't come off the staff, which then if you're defending yourself and he goes to grab it and your hand is off of it, you're in trouble. Or he knocks it out of your hand, you're in trouble. If you can learn how to switch by sliding the hands past each other, you'll always have your skin in contact with your staff. So let me show you how I want you to practice that. So starting with a split grip, palms open, you simply slide the hands past each other and then turn your staff and slide them out. The way we would do this traditionally is starting with the Jo or with your Hanbo, either one. The Hanbo is the 36-inch staff. The Jo is usually 48 to 54 inches. Palms on the end. One comes under, one comes over. You can see this is over, this is under. I slide them toward each other, turn, sliding out, sliding out. And as you get good at it, you practice it. The only way you're gonna get good at it is to practice it. And drop it, and pick it up, and drop it, and pick it up. And have your hands slide off like mine keeps doing, and then keep trying it. And then once you get it for going one way, then go back the other way. And after a while, your proprioception is gonna improve, and you'll get calluses on your hands, and your staff will absorb the oil from your skin and the salt from your sweat, and all that will start to make you better at this motion. Now this motion, we're not just doing it for fancy looks, right? We're doing it to be able to switch. Michael's asking about how to protect the hand when you punch. Best thing to do is be able to make a correct punch first, rolling the fingers, putting the thumb here, not squeezing. See, by squeezing it changes the shape of my fist, which pops the knuckles up, which means I'm gonna roll my fist when I do it or break a knuckle. Learn how to roll your fingers first, and then pull the thumb in and down this way, not over, but in, down, and then make that square. If you look at the way your knuckles go, they're going this way. You want it to be straight so that when you punch, your fist is straight. And that's the first thing. And then practice, get a bag, practice on the bag, practice good technique, proper technique. And that's a tip I'll give you tonight. I do a lot of videos on no weapons, on using your open hand. We can go over proper punching if you want. All right, but I want you to practice this because I want you to practice this. This is a strike, right? This, as you turn, again, it's all coming from your shoulders and hips. So you're striking, you're pushing. This hand then starts to lock out by turning over. As it turns over and you lock out, you're pulling this in and you're locking this over the arm. And then, hey Tony, it's good to see you. And then coming forward. So this angular strike coming down at an angle into his neck, into the temple, into the chin, into his ribs, into his hand, into his knee, or into that vicious dog who's coming after you. And you're practicing these angles, and then the backhand coming forward in a vertical strike or a horizontal strike. Think about coming across the temple, into the jaw, into the ribs, and then again, you can come down into the body. And then when you change your grip by sliding it, we're gonna do this one next. by sliding it. Then you practice the angle with the other foot forward, here, coming across, and again, head, neck, shoulder, forearm or elbow, or ribs, hips, or hand. Maybe he gets that hand, he's reaching, smashing that hand, knee, and then the backhand coming across, striking. Now your hands can also be sliding so that I can strike here and I can strike here. So I can strike here, and you can see that what you're doing by allowing your hands to slide is you're putting more stick between you and the threat. So you're expanding your reach. So that's one way you can improve your training when you're doing self-defense training with your medium-sized staff or your hiking stick, your walking stick, allowing your hands to move in that position. Now, thrusting, super simple. One of the best things you can do is thrust. Again, Doug says the follow through has a lot more impact, and that is the truth. Thrusting from here, front hand is turning over so that it can lock out. Back hand is turning up, palm up, so that you can get more power in your strike. There's this forward thrust. You can also thrust and strike what's behind you, or who is behind you, whomever is dumb enough to be back there. From here, a traditional strike would be stepping forward, taking out a knee, so you can practice in combination like we were doing before. Thrust forward, thrust back, step and strike. Take out his knee. So forward, back, strike, thrust, smash, smash, push through, all the things that we did. So hey Kathy, Kathy's here with her 9-year-old son watching. Welcome to you both. Thanks for being here and training with me tonight. Excuse me. So thrusting motion, and then a reverse thrust. So from here, pulling back to here and pushing through. So 1, 2, and you can practice that way if you like. Now, from here, I'm gonna show you the other way I want you to practice. So we did this sliding in order to get the staff from one side, or the walking stick from one side to the other side, right? From the right hand forward to the left hand forward, I have the sliding motion. This can also become a blocking, stepping, and striking combination, which we'll go over at some point. But it's that sliding that I want you to get really comfortable with. Now, the other way to not take your hands off of your staff ever while you're defending yourself is what we call hand walking. And all you see I'm doing is a palm spin. Like if I were to be going back to fancy movie skill, not real practical self-defense, that's a palm spin, just like you would spin a basketball in your hand if you're Michael Jordan or a Globetrotter. You would walk, well, got my finger stuck, walk your hands, and it's for the same purpose. Strike, now this hand's forward. I'm striking, now this hand's forward. You're striking and thrusting here. So practicing here, Michael is asking, how can I defend using a football? I think the football's in the truck. We go out and we throw the football a lot, so it's in the truck. We did a video recently. Michael, did you see that video? How to defend using a football? It's a bit of a joke, but once I started doing it, like anything, you can use anything for self-defense. But I did make that video recently, how to defend using a football. So switching your hand, Jeff Rooster says he uses a curtain rod for a self-defense tool. If you're using a curtain rod, you're probably not going to be able to do these strikes as much, but a curtain rod will be really good for just a simple thrust. So practice your thrusts. So from here, turning your hand, practice a strike and a strike. This will also start to give you a really good workout when you bring that strike in with force. And I want you to warm up nice and easy, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and at some point you're going to have to speed it up and start to hit with more force. And as you're doing that, squeeze the hand, squeeze both of the hands really, so that the hands, Simplify Philly Fatheads, good to see you. Squeeze the hands as you come forward, striking and bring in the force. Yeah, William says self-defense is about mindset and applying the principles. Amen to that. So coming forward, techniques are never as important as the principles in the mindset, to your point. So here, and again, you can do it down to the body or to the knees if you want to make the strikes lower. You can even reverse the strikes so that you're bringing it in this way and your split grip is different. Palm up instead of palm down. And you can play around with that. There's no way to do it wrong as long as you are challenging yourself to grow and trying something new. So we went over some really basic things. This strike is something I really want you to get good at. I also want you to think about this particular style of self-defense tool, this walking stick. I want you to see here that you can change your grip. Excuse me. So that you can have the long side now coming out of your thumb, and not like a baseball bat, but more like a katana, right? The Japanese sword, or its wooden version, the bokken, or the bamboo shinai. But you can use it. There's that hand switch again. You can use it in this position as opposed to just this position. So from here, I'm striking, or you're striking. You can lift it up and thrust, all the things that we have practiced already, but you can also turn it into this position so that you have this big long stick between you and the threat. Michael says, how to defend with a lug wrench. Lug wrenches are very easy because they're extremely heavy and indestructible, and it would hit with a lot of force. Put the lug wrench in your hand and use it like the tanbo. That's the short stick. So if you want to look up tanbo and my last name, I have hundreds of videos on the short stick, which is the same length as the lug wrench. From this position, you turn your hands and get them in line, giving you, yeah, Kathy has a tanbo, giving yourself a strong, powerful grip. You can thrust, you can do all of these basic strikes. This one's a little bit longer. I like this technique with the hanbo a little bit better. Hanbo is the 36-inch, or like a traditional gentleman's walking stick, straight cane. But you can practice, you choke up a little bit, and you can do these basic techniques. You can also pull, and you can do this hand. See how your palm is down instead of up in a traditional way? This is also correct for strikes with your walking stick. Hands in the same position like you're doing a push-up. So from this position, the way I got there, sliding the hand up, putting it on the other side, and sliding it down. And there's that same applying the pressure as you slide it down so you can hit a lot harder. All right, Charlie, I've been waiting for this question. Charlie asked about what happens if they grab your staff. The other question was about the cold steel. Cold steel does make a good product. Before I answer that question, just because I see this right here, I want to go to a different tradition. And this is the movie Pretend, but it's based on the Joe staff actually. But it was in that movie with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall Coming to America, the first one. Michael wants to defend with a lot of non-traditional improvised weapons. Michael, I think that's a great idea. From here, lifting the stick. There was that scene in Coming to America where the bad guy comes in, I always forget his name. And he's got the shotgun and he's popping off rounds. And Eddie Murphy's character is standing there with the mop and he's trying to reason with him. And he unscrews his mop handle, which is the same size as your walking stick. And the bad guy puts the gun in his face. Yeah, William says he remembers the scene. What's the name of that actor? He's iconic. He was in the Quentin Tarantino movie. He also played the bad guy. Yeah, the comment was about ridiculous weapons. Cheesecake was good choice. From here, Eddie Murphy's character tells him, put your gun away or whatever, you're scaring to find people, the nice people. He doesn't, threatens him, and then he brings this stick up really fast, knocking his weapon up, his shotgun up, and then he sweeps around and takes his legs out. Now, I will say that from my experience, if I did the traditional karate style, old school, jiu-jitsu style, Samuel Jackson, thank you, Studer, I knew you would know that. A leg sweep, or if we're hand to hand, and I can sweep your leg pretty easily. If you don't know what I'm doing, you don't have as much experience as me, and I'm a big person, I can kick your legs out from under you. Now I don't know, like in the scene he hits him, then he swings around, especially with like a mop handle. He's able to knock him off of his feet by taking his legs out. I don't know that would be effective. This is effective. I would have knocked it out and then thrust or smashed in between the groin. I would have probably gone for the gun first and you get shot. But then coming into the inside of the leg and actually strike between the top of the knee, like right on the top. I don't know if you can see that. Right there at the bottom of the upper thigh and on the inside where there's all these nerves, and smash that. I think that would be a much more effective move. But the point is, from here, you can smash it out of his hand, and then he does the sweep move. Now the question was, what if he grabs your staff? So if you have transitioned to this position, and he grabs the end of your stick, and he's over here, and he's pulling at you, you're gonna lock it against your body, anchor. Create an anchor. The purpose of the anchor is so that as your hand is attached to your hip and he's pulling on the other end, he's pulling against your body weight. If there's no anchor, your hands are out in space, you're doing one of these tug of wars, and he might rip it right out of your hand and beat you with your own stick, which you don't want something to do. Yeah, Charlie said you'd be smashing his ACL, the anterior cruciate ligament or whatever it's called, on the inside of his knee. So he's pulling on your staff. You've anchored it to the body. Now you have taken back the strength of your staff, the power position. You now have the advantage. He's out here grabbing. You have the advantage when you understand that you're now going to move your shoulders and hips using your big core muscles, your belly, your back muscles, your leg muscles. From here, you're going to turn away. Whichever way he's pulling, you're going to go the opposite way, and then when he pulls back, you're going to go with it, right? So if he's pulling on it, you push here, that forces him, action, reaction, to pull it back. As he pulls it back, you would go with him. That takes a lot of the pressure off of it, and then you're going to make a small circle with your front hand. Once you make that small circle, you're going to go straight down, and when you go straight down, again, it's your whole body pushing down. So from here, small circles down. That's going to take his hands are going to do one of these. They're going to cross it, and then you're going to push it down here. His nerves and his arms are going to hit each other. His grip is going to be compromised, and he's going to be coming out of his hand and creating pain at the same time. So once you do this, down, and then step in and thrust right through him. Either the solar plexus, if it's a life or death situation, the throat, or maybe in through the face. So he grabs your staff, you immediately anchor to your body, turn away and then turn down, or turn away and then turn down. So you can go either direction, this way or this way, but they both are, they're not done just by the hand, it's with the hand making the small circle and the hips and the shoulders making the big circle. And if you have a partner, you practice that over and over again, and I promise you, you'll get really good at that, and then you can get the biggest, strongest guy, and you can rip it right out of his hands if he grabs it. But only if you practice. You have to be able to practice that. And if you don't have anyone to practice, just practice it in the air. And I promise you, you'll get better and better. Young Feng Do, you're a little bit behind. I just answered your question. All right, the question was, what if they grab the stick? Then that's how we're gonna handle it. Back to this turn, because I do want you to be able to do that so that you have this other way to defend yourself when you do self-defense training with your walking stick or hiking stick. This is just a simple figure 8 spin. When your staff comes to the same side of the body, this is your right hand, what's on the right side. When your walking stick is here, you're gonna pop the last 3 fingers off of it. You're gonna slide it behind. You're gonna allow it to continue to turn up. When it's in this position, you're gonna grab with your thumb. You're gonna pull your first finger to where the other 4 are. And then you're gonna grip it tightly as you bring it down across his brain for self-defense. Always use your elbow. Michael asked, what about your other elbow? Always break his jaw with your other elbow, either here, 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 however you can, if you can. So from this position, you turn it. As it comes up, that's when you're gonna pull the first 3 fingers, allow it to continue down until it comes up again. Grab it with the thumb, pull the first finger behind. Now you're in the positive grip. So we call this a positive grip and this a negative grip. Negative grip is usually when the short side is coming out of your thumb. Positive was when the long side comes out of your thumb. So from the traditional grip, from here, you just hit him across his face. You hit him across the other side of the face. You decide you want to change your grip. 3 fingers come behind it as it goes up. Grab it with the thumb, first finger. And then to get back into your negative grip, again, same side of the body, 3 fingers behind, turn it, grab with your thumb, first finger goes back. So it's always 3 fingers, thumb, first finger. 3 fingers behind, grab it with the thumb, first finger behind. And if you practice that and allow yourself to drop it a few times, before you know it, you'll be able to do that spin very easily. And then if you are a Star Wars fan and you like Ahsoka Tano and the way she fights with her sword coming out of the pinky side, you put 1 in each side, and then you can start to spin, and then you can do your Obiani, let's forget that Annie stands for Anakin Skywalker, and you can get all Star Wars lightsabered out and just go back and forth. That's just for fun. And making it fun allows you to disguise repetition. So a lot of people don't understand that about spins. They think spinning is just meaningless, useless. It's not traditional. They don't do that in Budo. The old Budo guys get all angry when they see an Okinawan style weapon spun for fun. But the spinning, in my experience, in my opinion, disguises repetition and makes your strikes so much harder if you know how to strike. So that's all I have for tonight. Next one we do, got some in the car this week and some in the office. I'm gonna talk about more non-traditional weapons. Kathy asks, Eastern PA. Eastern PA is big on the Tang Soo Do. Tang Soo Do, for whatever reason, settled heavy into Eastern Pennsylvania. There's a lot of really good schools up there. Just depends on where you are. But there are a lot of really old school, like multi-generations. But the key is to find a good martial arts self-defense school. Go in and talk to the instructor. And if he's a goober, walk. If he is, that means if he's goofy and he wants to teach you how to do dim mak and throw your energy and knock somebody out. If he is grossly out of shape, then he's just not in the right position to teach you right now. He may have been in great shape at one point, he's not anymore. If he's a creeper and he makes inappropriate comments, or he looks at the kids or the ladies or somebody in a weird way, don't put up with that. Our industry is too full of creepers and weirdos and goofballs. But at the same time, yeah, Kathy says, yikes, they're out there. That's why I want you to be well aware. There are also really, really good martial artists out there. There are so many fantastic martial artists, but you have to look for them. And you want somebody who's practical, somebody who's not just trying to get you on a 3-year contract or a super big contract and auto pay and all that other stuff. Now they have to feed their kids and they have to pay their bills that way. So I'm not saying that you not pay for it, but what I'm saying is go in, ask questions, and if you go with your gut, especially women. Women have great intuition. You don't have a good feeling about the school, then it's not the right school for you. If you go in and the instructor is basically articulate, a little bit articulate, and it doesn't say that his sensei was the 38th Dan gold belt of whatever. If it sounds goofy and phony, don't do it. But if it sounds good and you feel like you can learn, ask to watch a couple classes. They should allow you to take 1 or 2 free classes just to see, and then go from there. But they're great schools, especially in the Eastern PA. You're going to find a lot of really solid martial artists who come from what we call the old school, before martial arts got too competition focused. But yeah, and if you want to, send me an email. It's pasquinelli@hotmail.com and you can send me some schools, send me the website, and then I can go on and I can tell you. I even call them. I call a lot of websites when people ask me, hey, can you refer a school for this or that? Someone's been asking me for a cane self-defense class in Chicago. I haven't found one yet, which is why I haven't replied. But if you want to send me a couple links, these are in my neighborhood. This is within driving distance. These are reasonably priced. I'm thinking about going here. What do you think? I'll even call them and ask them. I'll ask 3 questions, and I'll know within 3 questions what kind of martial artist I'm dealing with. And I can say I would or I wouldn't, and then you can make up your own decision from there. You guys have been awesome, and I will see you